All right, today is April 26, 2018. This is the meeting of the Kubernetes Storage Special Interest Group. As a reminder, this meeting is public, recorded, and published on YouTube. On the agenda today, we're going to go over the planning spreadsheet for 1.11 for Q2. Then we're going to take a look at some of the PRs that folks have posted in the agenda, talk about the face-to-face and onboarding, and testing. If you have anything that you want to talk about, feel free to interrupt or add items to the agenda as we go. So let's go ahead and get started and jump into the planning spreadsheet and get status updates. So first up, make volumes dynamic provisioning topology aware. Lynn or Michelle, are either of you on the line for an update? Looks like they're not here this time, so we'll get an update next time. Kubernetes to CSI topology implementation. This is something that Chang is working on at the moment. I'm not sure if Chang is on the line either. But I can provide an update here. Chang's been working on a design that is ready to send out, and he'll be sharing that shortly. CSI topology design, the PR is still pending. There are some open questions that I need to address, and I intend to do that probably after KubeCon, which is this coming week. GCE PD topology integration, I don't believe Michelle has gotten a chance to start on that. Same thing with AWS. We don't have anybody assigned to this. If anyone's interested in working on something in the storage SIG, this is an open item that's currently unassigned. If you're interested in working on it, please reach out to Michelle, and we should be able to let you know what needs to be done. Local volume dynamic provisioning is also Lynn and Michelle, so we'll have to wait for an update there. Adding support for online volume resizing. Hamant, do you want to give an update on this?
Yeah, so I presented this in front of SIGNote, and we have a PR open, we have a design open. I guess the only remaining concern that SIGNote has was the scaling problem that will come with like pulling that many PVCs. So I proposed a change that in the proposal that we only poll for PVCs which are resizable and which have been created from the storage class with allow volume expansion set to true. So that will reduce the burden on the etcd and the API server by quite a bit, and we'll be only polling for PVC which are potentially resizable. I think that should be acceptable compromise, but I don't know yet. So yeah, but we have.
So what are the next steps?
Next step is we need someone to accept or review accept the design proposal, and Len has not updated the design proposal with the latest change yet because he is writing the code to verify that bit that we should only poll for resizable PVC. So he will do that by tomorrow or something, and then we can.
Okay, and that would be someone from SIG Storage, or do we need someone from SIGNote to sign off on it as well?
Probably for the scaling part, we need to sign up from SIGNote as well. Like just have a look at it general. So yeah.
Cool. Sounds like good progress. Thank you.
Hi, Saad. I'm here.
Hey, Michelle. So we went over a couple of your items. You could give a quick update if you'd like. Number one is make volume dynamic provisioning topology aware.
Yeah. Basically, I think the design is in a good state right now. I want to get a final pass by Tim before we sign off on it. In the meantime, we've already started implementing parts of it, and I think there are some PRs out already.
Perfect. Any of these other items you want to give an update for?
Yeah, same thing for the local volume dynamic provisioning. Let's see. The rest I don't have an update on.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Next up is volume expansion, resizing, moving to beta. Hemant?
Yeah, so this is pretty much like making this beta and making it a default, so it shouldn't involve code change, but I started already on it, so yeah. Shouldn't involve much code change, there will be some.
All right, adding support for volume expansion in CSI. So it looks like there's been extensive work here as well. Do you want to give an update on that?
Yeah, so I wrote a proposal for CSI that needs to be like, I need to format it and stuff, but most of this is, I think, not too bad. And I half wrote a proposal for Kubernetes, and I'm writing some POC code for it. So that's where I'm at for the CSI resizing.
Cool. If anyone's interested in that, it's a pretty fun PR with a lot of interesting design questions on the CSI side. Volume snapshot and restore design. So this is the restore design. Xing, do you want to talk about that? So I broke these items into three different things because they're essentially three different tasks. One is coming up with a design for snapshot restore. Second is moving the volume snapshot controller entry. And third is adding volume snapshot and restore capability to CSI. So are either Xing or Jing on the line today?
I'm here.
Cool.
I think Jean might be traveling, so I don't know if she's online. So I'll start with the CSI. Basically, so right now I think folks at the CSI side are pretty much okay with the Slack. It's just there are some small things we need to sort out before that can be merged. And another thing is we run into a GitHub problem, but because there are so many comments and some folks could not open the PR to review, so couldn't get it merged because of that. And then so I have to actually open, and I submitted another PR and then reference the original one. And I'm hoping
that seems to have worked. I can now open the new PR, so that's great.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get that merged before we get another unicorn.
Yeah.
So, so that's about that. And then the restore side, I think Jing has been doing some work on that. She has basically has been testing one proposal, and that has been working fine. So I think we will just need to write it up. We can in the face-to-face, we can talk about that, the design.
Cool.
And the other one is what is moving.
Moving in.
Yeah. So this one basically has dependency on the CSI and everything else, right? So, but I have started the coding. Basically, because this one involves many pieces, we do need to first move the APIs entry, and then also we need the snapshot controller piece entry. So that actually has a lot of generated code involved. Yeah. So working on that.
There's definitely a dependency on the restore design for this. So we need to get that nailed down. I think this can probably be done independent of CSI. CSI is just another plugin as far as this design is concerned.
So right. So I started working on this. This is like the entry piece, right? So this is together, and then I started, and basically that's a different repo. We'll have a external snapshotter, which is under Kubernetes CSI area. Right? So, but that one will be dependent on the the CSS spec. So that has to be merged first.
Right. The external
Yeah.
controller does.
And
Okay.
the external controller is also dependent on the internal piece because it needs to get those, the informers and all of those so that it can
So
watch those objects as well. Yeah.
you need to have consistency between the plugins that you support on the external provisioner as well as on the internal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess the other big thing here is getting in front of the architectural SIG architecture.
Okay.
For review.
Do we need to set a date for that, or what is the good time?
That's a good question. I think first thing we should do is make sure that we have sign off on the restore proposal, because I think the restore proposal is a very good reason why this design should be pulled in tree. I think a lot of it depends on it being in tree.
Mm-hmm.
So once that's approved and finalized, then I think you and Jen can set up some time with SIG architecture and present to them the reasons why we think it's compelling for this to move in tree.
Mm-hmm.
And if they approve, then we can move forward.
Okay, so that would be, it's probably better to be after the face-to-face? Timing wise, what is the best?
Timing wise, face-to-face is going to be after KubeCon. I think it'll be your call. If you think that you're ready with a solid argument before that, you can go before that. If not, then afterwards is fine too. It'll be totally up to you.
Okay. So in terms of the deadlines, it looks like it's end of May is the code freeze or something?
Correct. I believe May 28th or 29th is code freeze.
Okay. So after that, can reviews still be going, or is it kind of done? What is the...
Reviews? What do you mean?
So let's say if we have code complete, right? We have everything submitted, but then people will still be reviewing it. And
it needs to be LGTM'd and approved by that date. It doesn't have to necessarily be merged, but it has to be LGTM'd and approved.
Okay. I see. All right. Okay. Good to know. Thanks.
Thanks a lot for the update. Next up is the dynamic max volume per node count design that I'm working on. Hemant, do you want to give me on this?
Yeah, so we presented this in front of SIGNode and Saad, you and Michelle and Tim had a discussion as well. I think the current consensus is that we don't need the CLI parameter. I have updated the proposal with that. We don't need the values to come from cloud provider. It has to come from volume plugins. I have updated the proposal with that. There's a way to work with volume plugins too. And the only thing I think the only like problematic bit is figuring out whether it has to go in capacity or like the status.attach limits as proposed in the proposal. The SIGNode does capacity has its own problems. So I'm currently leaning towards using status.attach limit. It seems simpler, and a scheduler already has logic for dealing with volume, so it's not like unheard of, but we need to build a consensus basically.
Okay, so it sounds like we'll continue the discussion offline for that.
Yeah. Michelle and you, if you guys can look at it, the updated proposal.
If you want to set up some time on Friday, just a meeting between us, and maybe you can feel free to invite the SIG too.
Yeah.
Just to kind of help close on that.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay.
Cool. Next up is PV health monitoring. Is Yuquan on the line? I think he's in China, so his this timing doesn't work very well for him. Last update, there was a design in progress. Michelle or Hemant, do you have any updates on this by any chance?
I haven't really had time to look at this, but I have been commenting on the design a little bit.
Cool.
I think this quarter probably the best that we can get done in the time frame is some prototyping.
That seems reasonable. So maybe we should switch this to design instead.
Yeah, I looked at the design as well, and it's going to be tight to get the coding in for this one.
Okay. Cool. The other reminder is that feature freeze was yesterday. That means that each one of these features that is going to be part of the 1.11 release should have a feature issue associated with it. The ones that are red do not. That means, let's see here. Okay, so no one's assigned to AWS PD topology integration, so that one makes sense, but I think we could probably bundle that under 558 as well. No. Michelle, is it worth creating a separate issue to track this one?
Yeah, because I think the integration is going to be at each plugin layer.
Okay. We don't technically have anyone assigned, but maybe it's worth creating an issue just in case someone does pick it up. Could you help with that?
Sure.
Cool, thanks. And then the PV health monitoring, Hemant, could you open an issue for that? Actually, we don't need an issue since it's a design. I'll fix this coloring. I don't know why it's just showing up as red. And then is Vlad on the line at all?
Yeah.
Vlad, looks like there's a couple of issues for CSI that you're working on. Could you make sure that there's issues open for them?
Yeah, I'll open an issue and update the document. And does that satisfy the feature freeze? Just open the document? Just open the issue?
Just open an issue, yeah, and make sure that the issue is marked with the correct milestone.
Okay.
And if it's not, just ping me and I can help do that.
Yeah, I'll ping you.
Cool, thank you. All right, let's continue down. Block volume support to beta. Is either Aaron or Scott on the line for an update on this?
Sorry, Saad, I was on mute. I don't think there's been any movement on this to move this to beta. I'm not quite sure exactly what's involved with that either. So I'll have to get with Aaron and Michelle and see what we need to do that.
Okay, sounds good. If you need help, we can reach out to the community as well for helping out with this stuff. I think moving block support to beta is pretty important. It's a feature a lot of people want, so it'd be great to get progress on this.
Okay.
The other part of this was block volume support for CSI. Did you and Vlad have a chance to sync up at all?
I have not synced with Vlad. I'm not sure if Aaron has.
Okay.
No, I haven't synced up with him.
Okay. I realize that next week is KubeCon, so I'm, I guess maybe the week after folks can sync up. All right, cool. Next up is prepare CSI for GA in Q3. There's a bunch of work going on in CSI. I'll link to the design or the document that we keep track of those items in that is currently in progress. Design a migration story for in-tree plugins to CSI. David and actually Jan is helping with this. Let me put his name down. Are either of you on the line to give an update on this? Okay, I can give an update on their behalf. So they're taking a look at this design. It's going to be a massive, massive design. We need to make sure that we, when we do this, it's absolutely seamless to the end user. They should be able to use the in-tree volume plugins like GCEPD or AWS EBS and not know that it's actually being fulfilled by a CSI driver under the covers instead of the in-tree code when we swap it out. This requires planning how the swap out is actually going to work, how the proxying to CSI is going to work. Some of the challenges include figuring out how to map inline volumes to CSI, because CSI, we explicitly decided not to support inline volumes. Other challenges are figuring out how to do upgrade and downgrade so that if you do a rollback from the version that this is automatically enabled on to one that it is not, that we have a good way to switch back and forth. have some mechanism to opt in as this is gradually rolled out and be able to switch back and forth. And then deciding what set of volume plugins we want to tackle for this migration initially. The initial feeling on this is that for the alpha and beta implementations, we are going to focus on the cloud provider volume plugins first. The reason for that is that there's a big push within Kubernetes to move the cloud provider code out of the Kubernetes core. And storage is a big user of the cloud provider API. And the sooner we can get those plugins moved off to CSI, the sooner we unblock this removal of cloud provider code from the core Kubernetes code base. So the first priorities are going to be the cloud provider in-tree plugins. Then I am going to propose the remote volume plugins that we have, things like iSCSI, NFS, third-party plugins like Portworx, etc. Basically have a way to proxy them to their CSI driver equivalents. And then finally, that will leave basically just ephemeral volumes and local storage. Ephemeral volumes, I think, are fine where they are because they're very specific to Kubernetes, things like secrets, downward API, and there are performance implications of being in tree, which for these ephemeral volumes is important because every single volume basically has a secret mounted to it. Every single pod. So for those reasons, I think leaving the ephemeral volumes in tree will be fine. The open question will be around what we do with the persistent local storage volume, and the plan there we can figure out in the future. I'll leave it up to Michelle to make the call there, but I think we might be okay either way, whether it's pulled out or it remains in tree. So Jan and David are actively working on that design. It's going to be a big design, and keep an eye out for that when they are ready to share it. Next up is replacing volume construction with kubelet checkpointing. I don't think Vlad or Jan, either of you have had a chance to take a look at this.
No.
Okay. This is a lower priority, so don't worry if you don't get to it. It's
Okay.
kind of nice to have. I know you guys have a lot on your plate, so that is perfectly okay. Move GCE Cloud Provider Disk API to auto-generated code. I believe Chang sent out a PR for this. I remember seeing it at some point. Michelle, do you have any idea?
No, I don't. I don't think I'm actually on that PR.
Okay, I think I remember seeing it, but we'll get an update from Chang when he gets back. Next up is Cubelet device plugin integration, and I don't believe there's this has started either. Next up is a plan to break up the external storage repo. Brad is working on this. Brad, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I have direction from the steering committee. It's just a matter of going and breaking out our projects either into, well, both into that YAML and then also into the SIG, the storage SIG, I don't know what it's called, manifest or whatever. I know there's a couple, broader like SIG storage items that we have to have, like our scope and like a mission statement, some other things that kind of tied into this. So I'll probably pick those up along the way too.
Cool. All right. Feel free to pull me in for any of that. And thank you for all the work on that. Next up is containerized kubelet issues end to end.
Yeah, this was an item that came out of some of the errors we had with the subpath.
All right.
That were failing some of the EDE tests that were, or we didn't have EDE tests for it. So
Right.
I'm still working on like an internal owner for this on the Red Hat side of things. So this is in progress. I don't have a firm status on it, but
Okay.
I am working towards it.
I saw some
Go ahead.
I saw some pull requests upstream that enable containerized kubelet tests. I don't know how often it runs, if it runs pre-submit or post-submit, but there is something definitely.
I think that that thing is only for a single node local cluster.
Yes.
So I think we'll still be a bit limited in what volume plugins we can cover.
Okay, well, at least some progress. But if we can get an owner for this to own this end to end, that would be extremely valuable. And it sounds like Brad's working on that. Thanks, Brad. Next up is host path volume reconstruction support. We never had anybody assigned to it. So looks like
This was also a subpath fallout issue. But I guess, yeah, I can try to follow up on this.
Jan is...
Sorry, go ahead.
Jan is there? Jan opened a PR for this, actually.
No, I don't have anything for reconstruction.
Oh, okay, not for the reconstruction, okay. Sorry.
Getting confused with all these subpath fixes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
If anybody is on the call and wondering how they can get involved, this is another opportunity. If you're interested in helping out, reach out to Michelle, and I'm sure she'd be happy to point you in the right direction. Next up is improved service account token volumes. Mike Denise had a design doc out. I have not had a chance to look at this since his presentation at the last SIG Storage. Has anybody else taken a look?
I did, and from the storage point of view, it looks okay. Jordan has a couple of other comments from security point of view. The storage is okay.
Okay, excellent. So we'll keep tracking that throughout the quarter, and hopefully that gets, storage is not the blocking factor there. Delete iSCSI devices on unmount.
Yes.
Ben?
This started out as an issue filed by Red Baron that also happened to affect me. So this is there's a potential for data corruption with certain types of iSCSI backends that have multiple LUNs on the same target IQN because of the way Cubelet does attaches and detaches. So I have a PR for this that's already up, and this is my first Kubernetes PR. So I probably did something wrong, but please let me know. My feelings won't be hurt.
All right, cool. Thank you for the fix. Would Wamin RootFS be the correct person to help review this?
Yeah, I can take a look. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Wamin. All right, thanks, Ben. And finally, we have provide environment variable expansion and subpath mount. Kev Taylor signed up to work on this. Any updates?
He has a PR out.
Okay.
I've been reviewing it.
Excellent. All right, let's go back to the agenda. One thing I wanted to mention was KubeCon is next week. There are a number of presentations that folks from this community are doing. If someone can post a link in the agenda to those presentations, that would be awesome. And I just wanted to keep track of who's going. So if you're attending, could you please add your name to this list? And that way, if we want to sync up, we can do that at KubeCon. No designs to review today. PRs that need attention. Looks like we have storage object in use feature becoming GA.
That was reviewed, and I approved it, so it's
Okay.
It needs approval from somebody. Yeah, it already has approval, so it's fine.
Okay. This is the best type of. It's literally just a comment change. Okay. Are we tracking this on the spreadsheet as a 1.11 change?
no.
Probably not.
Okay. Let's do that, and let's make sure there's a feature issue open for it too.
Yeah, it is already.
Oh, there's already a feature issue. Perfect. Could you link that in?
It's from the last quarter.
Ah, okay.
It just gets enabled by default also.
Perfect. All right. Next up is the PR that Ben mentioned earlier. And looks like Roman's going to help review that.
Yeah, I don't have any more to add.
Okay. One quick comment. Title should be better than bug.
Is that the actual title of the PR?
Yeah.
So that'll show up in some changelog somewhere?
No, it's just when you're looking at the PR, understanding like quickly what this PR is fixing. There should be like a short description here instead of mentioning what the bug is fixing.
All right, I'll fix that.
Cool, thank you, minor thing. Next up, we have Karen posted something about no disk manager design. Karen, do you want to talk about this?
Sure. So this is basically bringing the topic from last week to this week. So I wanted to introduce the what we have been doing with respect to Node Disk Manager. But what's happened is Jan, Michelle, and everybody pitched in, and I think I've been getting a lot of good comments on this one. So what I wanted to ask in this call is if there is enough interest in contributing towards this, and if we can go towards working on a design proposal. I kind of am looking for some help with respect to how to do that, some kind of a mentor or reviewer or co-authors for that design.
So is the idea here you'd like to donate this code to Kubernetes?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And in terms of the folks on the Kubernetes side who've been looking at this, Jan and Michelle, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think if people agree that there's value in it to help multiple implementations of these distributed storage operators, then yeah, why not?
Okay. Any objections from you, Jan?
No objections.
Okay. So in terms of how the process works, I think Brad would probably be the best person to help you guide through that since he's helping figure out where these SIG projects land. Brad, would you be willing to sync up with Karen on this?
Yes. Karen, can you send me an email?
Yes, I'll do.
bchilds@redhat.com.
Cool. We'll do that.
All right, cool. And if anybody else in the SIG is interested in understanding this project, maybe, Karen, you guys could do a presentation at a future SIG meeting.
Sure.
Cool. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is a discussion about the face-to-face. It is on May 15 and 16. Steve Wong and VMware have graciously offered to host this. Steve, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. I think the details are in the meeting notes. And then there's a link to the document with a proposed agenda. For those who haven't been to it before, we'd normally start with, let's say, an ambitious list of agenda items and end up with too much to discuss compared to the 2 days available. So we start these meetings with a vote, but please get your agenda items into that document now because others can see them and have a little time to think about them and maybe combine items and things like that. The other thing I'd like to mention is that the deadline for RSVPing is tomorrow. We posted a few of these in the past, and there's always people who try to slip in late, but get in there now, because we're going to catch you because the document editing is tracked. So there have been people who retroactively edited their name in after the deadline, and I'll be watching for that.
And what is the deadline?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, so if you're
I didn't say what time, so I think I'm willing to be pretty flexible, although I think there's limited numbers of seats. So if you wait until midnight, it might be too late anyway. Then it just gives time for planning. The other thing I'd like to point out is we've historically held a dinner on the Tuesday night, and it's been great for networking, meeting, and getting to know people. I'd like to do that again, but you know, VMware kind of blew the budget just renting the venue. It turned out that the on-campus rooms were all full for a group of this size, and we didn't have enough to also host the dinner. But if some other organization would like to do it, that would be great. The reason I say that is, you know, we could always go there and everybody buy their own dinner, but having arranged these dinners before, once you get over a group of about 12, these venues want a contract prepayment. And if you call some restaurant on the phone asking them to reserve a table for 30, find if they want payment in advance, or at least some document from a company that they think is they can hold accountable if you don't show up.
Yeah.
So if anybody has an org that wants to sponsor that, great. If not, if anybody even has ideas, I'm going to be traveling from LA, and I'm not that familiar with the Mountain View area. But if somebody knows of a big pizza parlor setting or something like that that can accommodate mixed dietary demands and has huge tables, that would be great. And please edit your suggestions in there if you think of anything.
If anyone's
interested in helping with anything else other than one other thing, some people have sent me emails for access to that document for RSVPing or editing the agenda, and the community standards for the Kubernetes project state that, and I recently learned this, and I'm appreciating the huge amount of work Saad is doing managing this group, because I became chair of another SIG a few weeks ago. But they actually advise that you constrain editing to group members. And there have been unfortunate incidents in the past in other open source projects where people, for whatever reason, graffiti tag, in essence, community documents. So rather than having an admin add your name one at a time, if you simply join the list in Google+, and if you're logged in under whatever ID you use to join, you should have no trouble editing it. But sending the SIG letter a request to add your secondary email probably isn't the most efficient way to scale a SIG. So just pointing that out.
Yep, completely agree.
That's all I've got.
Cool. And yeah, so please add your name to this list as soon as possible. If you do plan to attend, it is capped at 42 members, and looks like we're approaching that very quickly.
Yeah, it says 42. The fact is, I think the venue may have some ability to put a few people in at chairs, but if you're a late ad, you might not get a table to set up your laptop.
Got it. And if you're interested in helping sponsor the dinner, please reach out to both me and to Steve, and we'll figure that out. If we're unable to get folks, I'll see if we can get Google or CNCF to sponsor. And of course, the worst case, we can just all pay on our own, which shouldn't be an issue either. All right, next up, Aaron Boyd has been organizing a SIG onboarding series, which is a bunch of live meetings with folks from this community who are veterans who've been around for a while, presenting on various topics. We had the first of these meetings, I believe, last week, and I believe there's one scheduled today. Aaron,
no, so yeah, that was rescheduled. Saad, okay. She's moving them out to the second week in May, I believe.
Which I think coincides with the on-site. They're face-to-face now, did I realize.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Yeah.
So maybe the third week in May. It'll
Okay.
pick back up.
Cool.
I was all ready to go, but I saw this morning.
So keep an eye out for those. I think there's a link to the document if someone can post that here where all of this is being tracked. Feel free to attend those meetings live, or eventually they will be posted on our YouTube channel, and it'll be great content for how to onboard if you're a new contributor and you're interested in contributing to the storage SIG. And then finally, I believe Aaron is also planning to restart the testing subgroup for SIG storage at the end of May if you're interested in helping with that. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, that's it. She's planning on starting that back up too. So
awesome. Cool. That is all that I have today. Is there anything anybody else wants to talk about?
Saad, this is Kiran again. One of the action items that I took last week was to go through the E2E that's currently there in the Kubernetes. I've not had a lot of time to go through that, but this is something that I really want to do and make progress. Should this get into the planning so that we can track it, or?
Yeah, that would be great. Go ahead and add a item to the planning spreadsheet and assign yourself, and we'll keep track of it week by week.
Okay, great.
Cool. Thanks. All right, I think that's all that we have for today. We will be, a lot of folks are going to be at KubeCon next week. And then I will be out of office the subsequent week. So I believe, Brad, would you be able to run the meeting next time?
Sure.
Awesome. So we'll reconvene in 2 weeks. Thank you very much.